Roland waited for a reply from Pastor David on the first, second, and third days, and began to wonder whether God had not approved of his offering. He had been led by God several times and had learned over the years to separate his convictions from his emotions. He knew God was urging him to let Pastor David use the auditorium and to broadcast his teachings worldwide. But the longer it took to hear from Pastor David, the more uneasy he felt, almost doubting his conviction. He had been very blessed since the pastor's visit, and almost every member of his staff who was in prayer had experienced one divine encounter or another. He knew beyond a shadow of doubt that God was in their meeting, but he had to be patient with God to see where he was leading him. If there was one thing he had learned in all the days of his waiting, it was that it is an honor and a privilege to have God use us in our things. It was Monday morning when his phone rang. It was Pastor David asking for a meeting. He thought that the pastor would say that God wanted the offer, but in a rather normal voice, he greeted him and asked if he could meet with him. Roland was not sure what to expect, but he agreed to that afternoon. A few hours before their meeting was like days. He was anxious to know what God said, and now and then he had knelt before God to beg him to accept his offering. Finally, the time came, and he was seated on the office couch with Pastor David. He had met with pastors, but had not felt such respect for anyone as he had towards Pastor David. "I have been praying concerning the offer you made, but God did not say a word to me until early this morning, when I had a vision and suddenly the Lord appeared to me saying that he was pleased at my patience to wait on him and also pleased to take your offering, and he told me to tell you that no one will ever be able to harm you and you must not be afraid, for he is with you." "Thank God," Roland said as he went on his knees with tears, praising God for accepting his offering and also for the assurance of his safety. He had been threatened time without number, such that he felt he might not live to see some days through, but God had been protecting him. He had resisted time without number the temptation to hire bodyguards. Pastor David once again prayed for him before he and his wife left to declare the good news to the rest of the team. Roland was so happy about the assurance of protection from the Lord that he spent the rest of the day in praise to the Lord. When his phone rang, he picked up. "Hello, this is Tom Piken." "Yes, Tom, how are you?" he asked. "Growing in the Lord. Can I see you this evening?" "I have got great news for you," Tom announced. "That would be great," he said. "Okay. We'll be there at the same time as usual," Tom said again and hung up.